हॅलो, पीजे कुलकर्णी सर, गुड मॉर्निंग.
गुड मॉर्निंग मॅडम. गुड मॉर्निंग.
हा, संदीप सर जॉईन झालेत सर, ऑलरेडी झूम मीटिंगवर
Yes,
आहेत.
yes, 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 yes. I requested him to wait for a couple of minutes so that other members will also join. We'll start.
हा सर, ती झूमची मीटिंग जी आहे ना, ती
Yeah.
काही बाकी सगळे युट्यूबवरच्याच लाईव्ह वर जॉईन होत आहेत. आणि झूमच्या मीटिंग कारण लिमिटेड हे असल्यामुळे फॅकल्टीला वगैरे ते हे केले, बाकी सगळी मुलं आहेत ती ऑनलाईन आहेत युट्यूबला.
No problem.
लिंक.
No problem. No problem. No problem. So shall we start then?
I think we should.
सर एकच मिनिट, मी फक्त एकदा मराठी सरांना, लिंक ऑलरेडी आहे मराठी सरांच्याकडे, मी एकदा जस्ट मराठी सरांना कॉल करते, ते
Yes,
इथं
yes,
झूम.
yes.
नाही, मी जॉईन झालोय.
अच्छा, मराठी सर आहेत.
हा.
सर काय करायचं, स्टार्ट करूया तिकडं.
हो, स्टार्ट करूया. मुलं हे केलंय युट्यूब ह्याच्यावर हे काय सांगतो. आधी काय झालं, चुकून हे फुल झाले, स्पीकरला जॉईन होता येणार नाही. आता ही पण हे
हा
करतो, म्हणजे सुरू होईल. सुरू
हा
करायचं
ठीक
काय
आहे,
हरकत
ठीक
नाही.
आहे.
हा,
ओके ओके.
हा. संदीप, प्लीज स्टार्ट.
Hello, Sandeep. Professor PJ Kulkarni here. Good morning
Namaste,
to all
sir.
of you. Hope I
Good
am
morning
audible
to
to
you
all
all.
of you. Kindly respond. Am I audible to all of you?
Yes sir,
You are
yes sir.
definitely audible to me here in the US.
Oh, great, great. Good morning once again to all of you. We are very pleased to receive Sandeep Bhalerao. He is our WC alumnus and so keen to support Walchand College students in whatsoever manner. He is very keen. He has been carrying out this activity for last more than 25 years. And today we are fortunate to listen to him on a very important topic. AI is a topic which is very close to all of us. He has been working in this area for last so many of the years, and we wanted to really listen from him something so important that today's world would be looking for, especially for the Walchand College student. His speech will be really, really very important, very motivational talk he would be providing today. And I am pleased to see that he accepted our invitation. Walchand College, under the banner of ACM, thought of providing the platform for providing whole altered, what I would say is the students forum coming forward, faculty forum coming forward, US alumni base, few of the alumni coming forward, my MTech students coming forward, BTech students coming forward. So it's a great gathering. All of them might not be over here because already YouTube channel has already been provided a separate link to it, and a good quantum of those students would be available on it. Giving a brief introduction of what Sandeep is doing. Sandeep Bhalerao is based in Silicon Valley for last 31 years. He is from WCE 1990 first batch of computer engineering. He is also the founder of Vision in 1989 along with his batchmates. So our Vision activity at Walchand College is started by Sandeep Bhalerao. We are really grateful to him. And now today this vision activity has really reached to a skyscraping heights. Really the entire credit for this vision activity goes to Sandeep Bhalerao. Sandeep's career spans across Sun Microsystem, the maker of Java, Oracle, the maker of C Sharp, database, and Amazon Cloud Services. Sandeep has been a system software engineer, a product manager, a global business development leader, and a food industry entrepreneur as a part of Make in India. Sandeep earned educational background with a postgraduate program in AI/ML from the University of Texas at Austin, an MBA from Booth School of Business, the University of Chicago. Currently, Sandeep helps startup and growth stage startups in the AI market. His wide experience in database engineering, AI, and many of other corners for which we would be really looking for his sharing of his experiences to all those WC stakeholders we are really very keen to listen to Sandeep Bhalerao. I think with this brief introduction, I would hand over the stage to Sandeep Bhalerao. Sandeep, please take it over.
Sir, thank you very much. I'm very delighted to come back to Walchan, as you know. And we have also met in Kolhapur several times, as
Yeah.
well as in Delhi. So I'm very, very fortunate to have the faculty, my friend and batchmate, Sanjay. I go with his first name, and he doesn't mind it because we are friends from, college days of the same batch, and fabulous career and help to all the students. Sanjay, Professor Sanjay, I should say, from your standpoint. And definitely, I got just introduced to Dr. Meda Shah as well. So welcome. My other batchmate is also on the faculty, and I've met him. I'm not seeing him yet. I don't know whether he's going to join. I'm talking about Momin sir. So he's also my batchmate. So it's kind of like really overwhelming for me to talk to you. The topic is actually the AI-powered engineer, and I'm going to put the slides. If you don't mind, I can go off screen. I'm okay coming on screen during question and answers, if that is okay.
Okay, sir, it's okay. Please go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, so I'll go off screen for video, but I'll probably like go more after the question and answers. And if somebody wants a question or more interactive thing, feel free to coordinate. I don't know who's coordinating on behalf of Walchan, but if there are questions, I want this to be more interactive. I don't want this to be, I just said something, came and gave like a 60 minutes discussion, but it should be more back and forth. I have learned this very well both in engineering career as well as later on in product management as well as sales and business development career, that interaction is very important. And interaction could happen verbally, interaction could happen over email, interaction could happen over writing a document, authoring something. Interaction could happen while presenting something. And communication is very key, no matter where you are in your career, no matter what engineering stream you are. It is not necessary. It is just computer stream. It could be any stream, but communication actually should be very, very much part and parcel of your toolkit all the way along the career, not just for interviews, not just for admissions, but overall as your life as an engineer or using your engineering skills, which I'm using on a daily basis myself. Although I have MBA and I have business background, I do that. So communication is very key. Would be my first message to all of you. Please hone your communications whenever and wherever you can. So interrupt me, okay, on that. So I'm fine with it. And please, somebody need to coordinate to have that. There is a question, and I'll be happy. It could be in the chat. It could be directly asked here. So with that, I'll go incognito in terms of video, and I'll turn off my system to talk to you about it. Okay.
Hello, sir. Just 1 minute. I'll be posting all the like if I'll be getting the questions on YouTube live chat. I'll be posting in the Zoom chat.
Okay, you'll be posting in the Zoom chat. That's a good thing. Thank you very much for mentioning that. So that what I'll do is I'll keep this chat open, and what you could do is like just interrupt saying, "Hey, we have a question," and I'll take it from there. Is that fine?
Yes, sir. It's fine.
Perfect. So with that, I will again go incognito here.
नाही जाणून तुला 3दा हाका मारल्या त्या हो हा तू घेत हो देतो लगेच आणतो ते मस्त केलं काल ते तिथला बेळ हा ते जामचं बेळ आणू काय
Can you see my screen?
Sir, yes, we could see it, sir. Please go ahead.
Okay, I need to just Do you see two slides or do you see one slide?
We see main slide along with the part of the second slide.
Okay, so that's this agenda slide. So that's not
Yeah.
because I need to just cascade these things. This is part of the communication. You need to be very clear as to where this is. Now you can see only one slide probably.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Not a problem. So, the first and foremost, I want to get with a very clear message that this is about artificial intelligence powered engineer. What that means is we are using AI as a tool, and we are not, having AI make us a tool. So the clear message here is like we don't want AI to be empowering us, but we would like to use AI as a tool ourselves. And this is going to transform industries across the board. This is not just CS, this is not just electrical or mechanical, civil, but industries that are across the board. This also include public sector. This includes very common people who would definitely be benefited. In a sense, AI is for all, and that's a very important thing. That is a very key concept because it starts with the ethical issues. It starts with the security issues of what AI could do in certain cases, and damage some of the social fabrics. But we don't, as an engineer, our job is to keep that ethics as we would keep in engineering. You're building a code, you definitely don't want to have the code go and do some malicious thing on somebody's hard drive or somebody's data. As a mechanical engineer, you don't want to design something that would break in the middle of the road. As a civil engineer, it is very important the bridges or any other constructions you're doing, there is ethics, and ethics is very important part. I'm sure it's part of your curriculum as well. But the key thing I'm mentioning here is AI also comes with more ethics, because what is AI? AI is essentially we are simulating a human intelligence in a machine uh, to enhance our capability of doing things in less time or more efficiently, or with things that we may not have a humanly possible time to explore. So we have to use it as a tool, just like you will, if you're given a hammer, that doesn't mean that that's the only tool you have got and you can break everything. You can definitely use a hammer where it is useful. And so my first message is AI powered engineer has to use AI for all and AI with ethics. So with that, I'll start. I have a very simple uh, slides created over here, and I'm happy to share that through Marathi sir to all of you, because he has been communicating with me. But these are like very generic thing. I'm available on LinkedIn, as Marathi sir has my LinkedIn connect. Hamza, you have also my LinkedIn connect. Happy to connect with any and all of you. And there is also a Walchan LinkedIn forum for both students as well as for alumni to connect. So happy to connect there as well. So, again, AI is not new. AI is kind of like come back as for the third time. I remember when I was in Walchan in 89, 90, and we used to give seminars, which was a seminar topic as part of our final year engineering, uh, and which is called the BE, right? So during that time, there were several of my classmates who did AI as a topic as part of their seminar. Uh, AI has been there since like long time, but the current wave of AI and what I see here in the Silicon Valley is really daunting and very, very, very big. if you don't have, AI expertise here in the Valley, I'm saying, there is like, very, I would say, difficult time to kind of like discuss with people as to what is going on, and so forth. But that does not mean that AI is taking everybody's jobs. I think, like, AI will create more jobs if we as engineers focus that AI is for all and AI is, used with ethics again. So I have this brief agenda to go through, what it is. As far as I want to confirm one thing, the students that are connected here, they are from all streams and not just from CS and IT. Is that correct, Marathi sir, or anybody can confirm to me?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
It's
sir.
for all streams. All streams.
All streams. That's great. And that is exactly I wanted, because AI is nothing but, just like mathematics. And, mathematics and English are sort of like universal language today of business, as well as of engineering. Although, like, I'm very glad that some local language, engineering schools are also being started. So, but the point being, just mathematics is a universal language for engineering, and so AI is also a new universal language for engineering. It is not just only for CS, it is not only for IT, although most of the people think that it is only for CS or IT, it is actually everywhere. So I've taken, few examples over here, and I'm going to take actually some real examples which I was writing down, so that I can speak to it more so on, what I have seen. But I have many, many, many examples. So if you have questions, I have examples for what I have worked on in those things. So with that, I'll start, like, again, you are my target audience. Again, a key part of any presentation or any communication is, who is your target audience? What are you talking to them? What is the purpose that you are talking to them, and what is the purpose that they are listening to you? So that has to be very key. So here, my target audience is, are you students as well as the faculty over here. And I'm very, excited to that. And then the theme, as I mentioned, is AI is for all. AI is a tool for all industries, and engineers like us should always remain in control. Humans, as such, should remain in control of the tool, and the tool should not be controlling, any person. So that is, like, also very important point I wanted to make here as an introduction. So AI is here, as I said, like, I was at NVIDIA's Global Technology Conference, GTC, which is, like the, in a short, I would say it's kind of like a Mahakumbha of AI, and like a lot of, cloud service providers, hardware vendors, a lot of consulting companies. There were like so many people here that it was very overwhelming to even, be in the room. There were several sessions going on, and I had the experience to go to that just 4 weeks ago. And a lot of other topics were discussed there. One of the key thing, I wanted to mention, purely from an electrical engineering standpoint, that is where I would probably, go first. And I'll switch back and forth from the topics over here. But key thing, many people were expressing there on the industry side, is the amount of power that is required to run. And don't look into the slides. Don't, I am going to give the slides to you, but I'm just kind of like having a very natural story here of, what happened like just 4 weeks ago. And the power usage is so daunting that they are not sure whether they will be able to do, more data centers to hold any of these AI workloads. It is also about the water that is being, required to either cooling the systems. So what, there are various different ways where people are trying to innovate and invent new ways to create a data center. So that means, one of my friend, and I'll share some pictures, later on, but they are building like one of this biggest data center that's part of the Stargate in Texas, which is OpenAI, NVIDIA, Oracle, and SoftBank, which is a Japanese venture capital firm, very big. You can look for SoftBank, but the three you definitely know. They are building a massive data center, which is in acres. It is so big, there are like cables and everything coming up. And I saw some pictures. I had seen the initial design of that data center, which brings me back to our friends from civil engineering as to how big these are. And the kind of construction that is going on, the kind of cabling that is going on from the electrical engineering standpoint. There is a lot of investment going on in those areas, as you can see. So I wanted to just say that this is not for one engineering stream. This is not for just CS, or people think that way. It's not correct, actually. So with that, again, I'll come back. So there is definitely, AI is here, as I said, and that's exactly what I wanted to tell in terms of my own experience at NVIDIA, as well NVIDIA's conference, as well as people I know who are building, this massive data centers in the US. This could happen as well in India as well. So, we'll talk about it. But there are like, again, I'll come to, the simplest concept, and many of you might know this, but I'm not making an assumption that everybody knows. Typically machine, these are, what is the toolkit? What is AI actually? AI is not definitely just Chat GPT. AI is not, Gen AI that can generate text or images or other things. But AI is actually a toolkit. So we have to understand what the toolkit is, because a lot of people think that if I don't know how to use ChatGPT API, or Gemini from Google API, then I don't know AI. I think, that's a part of AI, but that's not AI itself. AI is a toolkit. So if we have to understand that toolkit, we have to understand what AI can do. The first thing is the machine learning side of it. And what machine learning means it is learning from data. A very simple machine learning thing is, can I learn something from, and I'll give you an example. And this is where one of our other Vulcan alumni who works in New York is talking about. So machine learning is about, understanding the data, learning from the data. So the example of the industry over here is a bank, and a bank has got a lot of records. Bank has got records of customers, transactions, as well as loans, as well as payment of loans, which is EMI in India. There are many other, fixed deposits, uh, many things, credit cards that the banks give, that data. And there is whole lot of data that comes into a bank. That data is all in silos in terms of how the bank was using it, until recently. So for example, if it is just a checking or a savings account, they are just looking into those things. If it's a credit cards, it's a different thing. If somebody has applied for a loan, then depending upon the type of the loan could be very different. It could be for home, it could be for purchasing, say, a vehicle like a car. It could be for a business loan. The loan could be short term, that is like, maybe like 5 to 7 years. It could be long term, like 30 years. So there are many different type of data that a bank has got, and this data is actually in silos. So a key concept of machine learning in bank is what we don't know. And it is typically, we already have that data, but we don't know what we are learning from that data. The technical term in banking for that is called as dark data. Dark is just like, a night, you don't know. You cannot see anything. There's a lot of darkness. And if you Google, keep that, if you are good at taking notes, which I do myself, I always, I have always been a paper and a pencil person to note down, whatever I want to, do after I have listened to some presentation or after a meeting or discussion with someone. So look for dark data, and you will know, two words, dark data. So dark data will tell you, or tell that bank what they don't know, and they can connect some of these things. They will know that, who pays loan on time. That's a very simple thing. But also who is depositing, what's happening with certain accounts. The bank also puts the money into other markets because they want to grow the money. So they, you say put a fixed deposit into a bank, the bank is going to use that money to gain more interest from other places, and then they are going to see as to what happened. So they want to learn what, and these are called financial instruments that the bank will play, whether they play into other markets, such as stock or mutual funds or other places. They want to grow their money, and they want to, make more money on your money. So how is that forecast going to happen? And they want to learn from that, what we did last quarter, what we did last month, what we did 2 years, in a row. And so some of this thing is machine learning. They have to know these things so that they can make better decision. And that was just one example I did. But again, as I said, you could learn it from a machine that is running in, or series of machines that are running in an industrial setup. And if the machine is creating any data, you can read from the machine log data and understand which machines are bad, which machines are more efficient, which machines were needed which kind of parts, what was the failure rate, what was the efficiency or yield rate. And depending upon that, you could learn more about your production system. Typically, we used to do this more in operations research or OR, and machine learning is nothing but a tool for OR. So you could use it from many, many, many different ways. It could, tell you, for example, if there are surveys happening, you could understand how the survey is, what kind of demographics was surveyed, what it was surveyed for, and you can learn a lot of things on a number of surveys that has happened over a, period of time. There are surveys that internationally are published, and sometimes we feel we are not very well represented. Always look for kind of, how much was the population that was surveyed, and what kind of analysis somebody has done from that. Be very curious on the statistical side of it, which brings me to the point that learning from data requires a whole bunch of statistics. And there are many libraries that you can see, and when I'm saying libraries, I'm talking about the coding libraries that can give you statistical functions to work upon. There are many programming or other you know other interfaces are available if you don't want to code from scratch on a statistical thing, and you can build upon that. But that's all machine learning. You have to apply that, you have to apply the engineering problem at hand and the data that it requires to solve that, to solve the machine learning over here. I'll go to the next topic, which is deep learning. So what is deep learning and how it is different? So deep learning is, in fact, again, that same bank could do some advanced pattern recognitions, on the data. So this is like really beyond the dark data. This is not just kind of connecting things, but can we see some patterns? And in the night, if you look at sky, you will see like some patterns are known as far as the stars are concerned. But looking at patterns is a very, very, very historical concept, because, people looked at stars and then they could figure out, okay, so this is like the constellation is like this, the sun, the moon kind of like, has its phases, and some of the constellation moves differently. And that advanced, so what I'm saying here is like, the deep learning actually is not new to us in India. It has been there for years. We have to just look at it a little differently and tell that, we can predict the time, we can predict, the eclipses, we can do a lot of things. But deep learning is to do some advanced pattern recognition, and then come up with some kind of prediction, because we can clearly say when is the next full moon, when is the next solar eclipse. And these are like just celestial body pattern recognitions that have been there for thousands of years. But now we have to do as to what deep learning means. For example, on technologies that can see, as an example, is medical devices. So I'm moving into a different industry now, where you could have images of, say, X-rays, you could have MRI, and all these are in very different images. And X-ray is very different from MRI, and that is the reason you could see at that data, and then you have to label some of that data and see in a series of images of that, or a series of images, uh, image data, I should say, and recognize a pattern saying this is where probably, if it is a disease, then this is the disease and why it is. In fact, like, I'll give you one very clear example of one of my friend, during COVID times, because testing was like getting very difficult. He was just doing the testing based on X-rays of patients, and he was taking the X-rays, and because he is a very good radiologist, he could say that this particular lung X-ray is definitely somebody who has cough but not COVID, or this particular X-ray has got maybe some infection, but it is not COVID. And he could recognize that, and he worked actually with a company out of Mumbai to build some software to, and he's a radiologist, he's not an engineer, I'm talking about a medical professional person. So AI is for all, and he could do some advanced pattern recognition because he had the expertise. Which brings me to the second point, which is very different from the first point which I made in machine learning, which was about statistics. So what is this deep learning about? Deep learning is about a domain. So as an engineer, if you are really interested in a particular domain, it could be health tech, it could be medicine, it could be knowing bioinformatics, it could be knowing more about, say, uh, airline routes, or naval routes of how the ships are going from one port to the other. How is traffic, going into any of these things? What are the patterns? Can you recognize certain patterns? And human brains will recognize these patterns very clearly. You will know that if you have to go from Mumbai to Pune via road, which are the good times to go? And sometimes you will say that there is no good time to go because all times the traffic is there. But there are, human intelligence always tries to be little bit effort averse. What that means is we want to put as less efforts as we want to, and we recognize certain patterns. And that is exactly what, it's not about less efforts here, but it is in minimal time, how can you, recognize that pattern? And that's all about deep learning. People have very different concepts about it, but it's all around you. And as I said, it has been in mankind for thousands of years, where people were looking at celestial objects, like star, moon and sun, and predicting patterns of it. So deep learning, but requires a very deep interest on your side. So people who were gazing the sky, or people who are looking into X-rays, have a domain expertise. So one of the key things for engineers is to really focus and get into a domain that you really like. That is something you are really fond of. That is something that would, keep you awake, or that is something that will wake you up saying, oh, I know I need to do something in this domain. And you could probably become a deep learning expert from that standpoint. That doesn't mean you have to do coding or something. I'm not saying don't do coding, or I'm not saying do coding only. But what I'm saying is having a domain expertise is very important. Do not become a generalist. You can become a generalist, but to become a deep learning expert, you need to pick a domain. And some of that domain you can start now as students and try to go deeper into it. Don't try to be shallow over many things. You could go deeper into it if you are trying to get into deep learning. Which brings me to the third one. Actually, this is one of my favorites one, and I'll share, some things with you. Sir, I did not, PJK sir, I did not share my project of final year, but I will talk about natural language processing. So natural language processing essentially means that understanding and generating the text. You're understanding my language because, English has been a universal language, at least for education, for engineering education in India and in most parts of the world. And you can understand what I'm saying. Sometimes my words might be different. I've been in US for 31 years, so some of the terminologies I might be using or phrasing a sentence could be a little different. Maybe I have acquired a little bit of accent, which is very natural to how I speak. But again, you are understanding what I'm trying to say. Uh, the the secret, or the NLP thing I wanted to mention is my final year project was actually writing a basic interpreter. And basic is a language most have forgotten now, but basic interpreter in Hindi language. So and at that time there was no graphical, I would say, terminals. So we created our own fonts of Hindi. So one of the key challenge was to create the font itself. And then what that means is not as much deep learning kind of a thing on pattern recognition. But if you have to create a font, there are different fonts. And if you observe most of the fonts, whether you use PowerPoint or Word or Google Docs, there are many different fonts that you see. All those fonts have a very different pixel. My project was to kind of create, first of all, the Hindi uh, Hindi language using using a English keyboard, because there was no keyboard that could change. Nowadays we have keyboards on our phone, and we could go to 100 other keyboards of whatever languages are there. So we created, first of all, a Hindi font, and then you create a command, because basic is an interpreter, so you create a command and then kind of go through it. And that was my first, I won't call it like a natural language processing, but it was pretty close to what a different language was. And it could understand the code, or it would understand the the character, the Hindi characters and words, and would generate and run a program actually in Hindi. So that was pretty cool, is what I thought in 1990. And our infrastructure was not very good, as the kind of great infrastructure I have seen over the period of time here. But what NLP is kind of like what you use in chatbot, what you are using probably in Chat GPT. And it's a very advanced way of kind of like understanding and then generating the text, which is Gen AI. So the Chat GPT and Gen AI is just in these two bullet points right now. Don't try to be just a Chat GPT or a Gen AI, because it's very hot, and it is hot definitely. But there is a more scope in understanding the toolkit that you have got here. So I'll speed up a little bit. So NLP, you know where I'm coming from. Computer vision is another thing. It is understanding and interpreting the images and videos, which is kind of like goes hand in hand with deep learning. But it is computer vision is more quick things that you could probably, it's not, you don't want to go as deep as whether this disease is, tuberculosis, or this is, TB, this is TB or this is COVID. If it is a lung X-ray, that would be more, deep learning based on several, hundreds and thousands of X-rays. But computer vision is more about, if there is a photograph, can I, detect object in that? Can I label the objects? Can I say that this is a human, this is a car, this is a dog, and I can interpret, maybe text and images, together. And all these things are kind of like a lot of jumbled up nowadays, called as, multimodality. So you have, images as well as you have text in one single data, and how you do that. Then I'll move to robotics and AI integration. That's one of my favorite things. I'm working with a particular, I'll give you two examples of that in the industry. The two examples here are at Amazon. One of my friends, she's working on doing some very basic Amazon package fill up using robos, because they know that there are certain orders that a robo can pick up and put it into a small box and package it up. So they are in those places, they are actually really replacing the human who is doing that. But they have found that there were more errors in very regular small object packaging, and so they have started doing that. And that way the human can do more complex things. So it is, some people think that it is replacing the job, but it is replacing the jobs of those who are not ready to upskill themselves. I'll give another example. So I did my MBA from University of Chicago Booth School of Business, and this was in one of my alum. She was with Walmart Technology here in Silicon Valley, and one of the key problems that she was mentioning about certain things in Walmart, specifically in the food section, is they are say cutting some sort of meat. The meat is sold by what part of the animal has been cut, and packaged it for in the grocery, in the Walmart's groceries department. But the problem was the people who are skilled to cut the meat are not really interested in cutting the meat. They were interested in cooking. They were interested in becoming a chef. They were interested in running a restaurant. They want, because the money that was paid to them was very low uh, compared to what they could earn by doing more things. They actually wanted to upskill themselves. They didn't want to, but cutting meat is a skilled job. In a if it is a full-time job for like an 8-hour shift. And this was kind of creating problems, because people would come work for like 2-3 weeks, and they will leave the job because they upskill themselves into becoming a chef or running a restaurant of their own. And so the problem was Walmart was suffering, because then nobody's there to come and do the job. So ultimately, they decided that this is a temp job that nobody likes. And such temp repetitive jobs can actually be given to a machine. And that's where, robotics and AI integration came in, to kind of like, how do you cut these things clearly? I'm working with another customer. You can look, their website as well. It's called Sintele. I will, Marathi sir, I'll send the link to you. And they are actually, developing a shoe that is the first AI shoe. And, we all wear shoes, but this is like, some shoes fit us, some shoes don't fit us. So, it's a better example than the meat cutting example, because not everybody eats meat. People have definitely different ways, but I'm just trying to say, what industry is doing here to make it happen. So they will have, different, the AI shoe company is actually will give you an app to measure your foot, and depending upon the shape and size of the foot, and it is going to ask you a certain, more questions, they will design a shoe that perfectly fits you. It is very expensive shoe, and I'm working with them from a different context, but I'll pass on the website to Marathe sir. So that's where robotics and AI come, because now you're measuring it, and then you're probably giving it into some sort of 3D, machine to print the shoe for you. Similarly, like at Walmart, uh, they program the machine to cut meat in certain ways so that it can be not only cut but packaged. And so they replace a human, in terms of a temporary human who is not interested in doing the job. uh, and tools are accessible for all. So I wanted to just kind of like take a pause here and do a quick check on time with you, because I wanted to more open, and I'm going to pass on this presentation to you all. But there are concepts that you can use as an electrical engineer, and I'm going to run through these things really fast because I want to have questions coming from you. The slides will be available for you. Experiment students can do with some of these things maybe, and what they should look for. Of course, like one of the key thing is environmental aspect of and how AI can help on environment, such as smart grids for energy distribution. It's a huge problem, as I had explained in the beginning of the presentation, which I have seen at GTC, as well as seen in the Stargate that is being built. Autonomous vehicles, you have heard this, many of these things, but these are places where mechanical engineers specifically would know. And a lot of us just think that it is only in the cars, but it is not just only in the cars. The AI and mechanical engineering integration is in many places. One of my friend is actually working on a big yard bus. So think of it like there is, like, say, steel. And if you have not, seen steel, how is steel stored actually? Because steel is having different quality depending upon what kind of steel it is made for, whether it is made for construction, whether it is going to be made for utensils, whether it is going to be made for any other things. Steel has got different classes, and mechanical engineering students will know about this on the steel aspect. But how is steel stored actually? Is it kept in a cupboard? Can it be kept, how can you? So if you look, at Steel Authority of India Limited's, warehouses, those are in acreages, like acres and acres of land where steel is stored. And this is the place where vehicles come in based on the order. Suppose it is for a utensil manufacturer, whether it's for a construction manufacturer, that steel will get picked up. The steel needs to be weighed correctly uh, because, depending upon the order, so that it's not like there is somebody's taking more steel or somebody is leaving it over. And they are picking up the right steel, first of all, because the steel for construction is very different than steel for, things. So how can you automate, a vehicle going into this yard and coming out with a precise steel? And because they will be shown the map, they will, have a scanner that could do these things, and maybe it's loaded and then it comes out because there are, all sorts of scanners out of it. So they're trying to do some of these things. This is also for maintenance that happens in railway yards, for example. And that is where, you could use autonomous vehicle to go deeper into the yards where the railway locomotives are repaired and maintained. And some of those things could be done, very easily, because you don't have to go all the way in. And these are some very deep and very big things from that perspective. This is the same thing also about, drones that, we have heard. And a vehicle doesn't mean it has to be on the road. It can fly. And so, there are many things that can be done here. There's like a lot of, opportunities even in mechanical engineering to work with AI from that standpoint. Advanced robotics in manufacturing, definitely we have done that, on quality control. One of the companies I work, I was, they were asking me to kind of like help them out. What they were doing actually is they had a big co-working facility. And in the co-working facility, what happens is there are like thousands of people working from different small companies because it is co-working. And they had like a garbage bin that where people will put the dustbin or garbage, and there were garbage of two types: one that was recyclable, and second one which was not recyclable. And all you have to do is to keep maybe whatever if it's a plate, after you're done with the food, you will put the plate, and the plate will go in that bin very easily, because people usually, humans will not put the wet garbage in the wet side, and then any recyclable or dry garbage in the dry side. They will do it at their own home, but when you are at work, you will just throw into whatever bin you get. You will just throw maybe a can into the wet garbage, and you will throw the wet things into the can garbage, into the can or bottles or plastic bins. So instead of that, they figured out that because you cannot train people to do a simple thing that they otherwise do very good at their own home. They kind of put it into on top of a table. It will pick it up and then kind of drop it off in the bin correctly. And this is very simple example I'm saying, but there could be very advanced thing that could be do. And what was the effect? It was quality control of the garbage coming out. And I mean to say, like, it's a very weird thing to say that, but that's what the reality is. Of course, software engineers, over here, you can use Gemini or other tools that are available. Copilot is also good. There are many other tools that can help you code, but don't depend upon that as it's an assistant. It is not your skill. It's a tool. Because if the hammer is doing the job, what good you are in doing certain things. So do certain things from IT and software concepts. Again, I'm going to give this slides. I'm more open to questions over here. This is another industry examples, and my whole thing was to give you an industrial perspective of the examples I am having. This is definitely not a coding school, or this is not something a deeper technical discussion, but I wanted you to be aware that AI is for all in every industry. Personalized recommendations. This is also very good one. One of the famous music tech company here in the valley is Spotify, and they wanted to have a better recommendation engine that would recommend songs that people will pick based on what they have heard. And they run a whole different machine learning algorithm to understand what recommendations they should put. But then they said, like, only based on what you have heard, because as many of you are watching on YouTube. When you watch YouTube, based on what you have watched, it is going to recommend you a few things. But that algorithm is very, I would say, simple or simpler. But based on who you are, and if you have watched 15 different type of videos over uh, 2 days, or 20 different type of videos, or 100 different type of videos over 15 days, then it will start learning from you and will recommend you certain things that you could do. And I'm just talking about YouTube here, but it could be same for shopping. It could be same for customers having customer support having questions. It could be a chatbot getting questions, and it's very frustrating sometimes to kind of work with a chatbot. You're asking something and they're not answering what you want the answer against, and you say, I want to talk to a human being and really not to a chatbot. Excuse me. I just wanted to drink some water here. So what I wanted to say is, again, we ourselves ask for a human in a chatbot that tells us like how powerful we are actually as humans. So you have to make chatbots better. How can you make chatbot better? And there are definitely LLMs and other things in the and agentic AI and bunch of other things that are there. But the point I'm making here is like you can make a lot of personal recommendations even in customer support. So depending upon where you are in customer support, you could do some of the things better so that the customer is happy. If the customer is happy, the business is growing. If the customer is unhappy, you will not go to a place where you are not served well. And that's a very simple thing in any business. So you have to think, put that hat as well. This is also included into other areas, but I'm not going to go into those. I'm again going to give the slides here. Of course, like it aids in a lot of designing, process optimization as to what the better route could be. This could be, used, for example, in supply chain, and you can improve, your supply routes or risks in supply chain. This again goes back to a little bit of OR, but main into supply chain, probably part of the IT side. If some of you are from the IT stream here, and interested in supply chain. Definitely material science, discovering new materials. That's also, for people who are in chemical engineering or interested in chemical engineering side of things. So these are like, some of the concepts on AI and technical engineering as such. Uh, these are some of on the materials. I'm going to skip through some of these things. Civil engineering also is very, very, very key. One of the, key areas is about traffic management, and how traffic can be handled better in urban planning. And traffic is a huge issue in many, many cities, especially in metros. So there's like, ample opportunities to put something better that can manage the traffic. It's also about, having, say, construction site monitoring. So that's also, an important thing. And sometimes you have to, you cannot go into a construction site every time, but can you do computer vision to see how the construction is going on? Is it going correctly? And this is not just purely to monitor people and whether they are doing the job, but it is also about, safety. It is also about are people using things safely, because there comes the ethical aspect of people getting injured at construction sites, and things like that. So that's also very important. But of course, like predictive maintenance of certain important infrastructure such as bridges, railroads, or railways, those are also very important to kind of consider from a civil engineering aspect. I've given something for bridge inspection here. I'm not going to get into detail on this one, but one thing I've seen is like where there are oil fields and very big oil fields, and people want to go and inspect, for example, how the oil field is, and whether there are any hazards of, say, fire or leaks in some of those things. Some of that inspection can also be done. I've done the bridge inspection over here, but again, civil engineers could probably like figure out when pipelines are put across oil or water or electricity. That's civil engineering takes precedence in some of those things. Of course, working with the electrical engineers, so you have to team, but you need to do some inspections of some of those things, and that's possible because of IoT and because of some of those things. But are you capturing that data and trying to put things, or are you putting uh, any of the technologies that you could use very easily to make it safer for all? So I'll click through this. I don't know how much time we have got, sir. If you can Tell me, do we have more time for question and answers, or we are?
Yes, sir. You can continue. You can continue.
Okay, thank you, Marathe sir. So, where do you start your journey actually, of AI? Because I want to come to the point as to, you listen to me from the industry standpoint, and I have some more examples that I can talk about. One of the civil engineering examples I would probably give is about, real estate planning, and more about space planning, and how you can do a better space planning. And I've seen some tools being used in doing that in real estate. Of course, there, Gen AI people use some of the time, but it's also a lot of measurements and a lot of dimensional dimensions that are done. Other things I have seen in civil engineering also is a lot of documents. Like one of the industries that I was consulting into. This is out of Chile in Latin America. And there, what happens is there is a big project by the government, and then that big project is a contract, and that contract is goes in many 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 pages, and that contract then goes to somebody who is a main contractor, and then the main contractor would have subcontractors. And when this is kind of done for, say, a very very large project, such as building an airport, or such as building maybe a dam, or such as building like very big construction project. I'm not talking about just putting like a building on a plot. I'm talking about huge government projects. And there are so many documents that are required, when, for example, even if you have to put an airport together as a construction huge project, and there's a lot of documentation that is required in that. And there is a lot of things that the document flows through as the work proceeds. And then there is a whole bunch of project management that goes as part of that really large project, which breaks down into sub project, and every sub project is not small. This requires like a lot of people, this requires a lot of equipments, this requires a lot of things that needs to be going through a quality check as to where the project is on time, where is fund being used, where is quality being assessed, where is audit being done, who is doing it, how many people are doing some of these things, how are they on schedule, are they on budget. And those things kind of like needs a lot of control in such massive projects. India is building highways, India is building airports. There are very opportunities even in civil engineering to know your domain, because you know the domain, but can you do something on understanding what kind of documents are required in such a big project, what kind of things from civil engineering perspective that would definitely tell you that this is a correct check of the document. And maybe you can take help of your CS friend, or you can and put together some quality check document that could help a small a mini project to a sub project to the larger project on a variety of things that is possible here. So that's one of the examples. I've seen this in Chile. They are building a very big electrical power plant, solar plant actually, and that is going for miles. The solar plant is like, it is like 50 to 100 kilometer big, area. And within that, they are building this solar plant because they want solar energy ultimately. And this is a barren land. Nobody is using it. Nobody will ever use it. And they're putting like this massive solar plant. And so a lot of people are required to make uh, to put these things together. This is just not solar panels, but the whole grid, roads, maintenance of it. So it needs a lot of project management. And this is where, quality check on documents could be useful for civil engineers. What else? So where you can start actually, I mean to say, like, you can start by just saying that, this is for all, this is for me as well. And I want to empower myself in being an engineer who could, learn and use it for what I really like and what I can do for people. It should be inside out as opposed to, uh, getting influenced by what your friend is doing, or getting influenced by what is happening here in the US, or getting influenced by what is happening in China. For example, like the DeepSeek people, like really, did a very meticulous job of putting a reinforcement learning with very limited resources. And one of the key things, at least to Walchand students, I can say, whatever resources anybody has in the world are always limited. This is exactly why I'm saying, the big Stargate project is also, people are doing that because they think that the AI data centers are limited. And so they are building it. Of course, they have money. That's another thing. But anywhere, wherever you are in your engineering career, you will always find that resources are limited. The time that is required to put something together is limited. There is no unlimited, there are no unlimited resources. There is no unlimited time for anybody of us. So the best thing for us is to learn the tools that we can and use it as a tool. So I would suggest that, there are very simple, first of all of you should know Python. And that's a very simpler language to learn. So if you have not learned Python, I don't know what the curriculum is, but I would highly recommend that everybody should have at least some basic Python coding, because that is something, it is really like a new English nowadays. Python is like English, but it is a new English where you could talk on doing some simpler applications. You don't have to be a Python expert to know everything, but you should know at least, just like, somebody may not know English uh, if he's not educated or never got an opportunity of education. But if you give that person maybe even 100 to 200 words to communicate in English, this person could be very powerful because they have other skills that they can use. But with that limited 200 words English vocabulary, they can communicate and, do certain things. But they will do the best from their perspective and where they are experts. And I'm not talking you're uneducated from a computer science perspective. Don't get me wrong. The point I'm making is you need to know at least, like, with that analogy, little bit of Python. Little bit of Python is very important as a new English, I would say, so that you know what this is, because it will at least give you an idea as to what it takes. You don't have to go very, very deep into it, but know about it. And there are certain libraries, and these are two or three libraries that could probably, I've put TensorFlow, PyTorch, and scikit-learn. Just kind of go through it. I'm sure it's part of your curriculums, but these are also very easily available on YouTube. These are something that you should learn as a tool, because that's very important. Second thing is, like, if you're more into saying that, okay, I want to go to the next level, then you should get into, this data science competitions. There are a lot of competitions that have happen on Kaggle. There are other platforms, but you should go. And these are not necessarily, I would say, time bound. Some of these competitions on Kaggle are just to kind of know what the subject is. It is just to know, and there's a lot of data out there on Kaggle. So go do some Kaggle competition. I did one Kaggle competition on on uh, this was more on the restaurant recommendation thing as to, what happens. And when I was working on it, I was like kind of fourth on the leaderboard. And I said like, okay, fourth is not bad. I mean to say like and this I did like last year. So, and I was fourth and I was very happy saying like, at least I'm fourth. And there were like people ahead of me and there was pretty competitive thing. And then I left that and I said like fourth is good. I mean to say like, I don't have a bronze medal, but I'm okay with like fourth. And I went for dinner and I came back. And then suddenly like I was like 18th because somebody was working and they were like, they throwed me out of the competition into, an 18th place and so forth. But a good learning for me was, at least solving that problem. And there is a lot of data. So I don't know whether you have known Kaggle or not, but I will probably, urge you to go to Kaggle and see for a competition that uh, is of your interest in your domain. And there are a lot of domains there as well. So that's one I can suggest. But if you want to, you should do this in a group. There are sometimes group so that you can also learn from each other if you are competitive on the data science side. People who are more on getting much deeper into writing papers, going to the conference, definitely are interested in more advanced studies, including such as PhD or kind of at least looking. They should definitely, look for research papers. There are a lot of research that goes on in this area. There are a lot of research that Google publishes that are, other tech companies here publish. So stay on top of those things as to what is going on. Put it into your feed as to what papers are coming in. One of the key things where India lags, in my opinion, is writing more research compared to what China is doing, for example. Like I have been to, few conferences here, and the percentage of, Chinese students writing excellent research papers or conferences as well as products in AI is mind-boggling. It is really ahead, and the reason being they are very meticulous. Okay, I know as a country we may have a different geopolitical tension, but forget the geopolitical tension. Just focus on, what you can do best in terms of research and, understanding some of these things. They are very meticulous. The DeepSeek is a great example where they work. A lot of people, think of it very differently. Don't go into the political aspect of that. Don't go into the geopolitical tension aspect of that, but think of it just purely as a research. What they did in the command of thoughts, and the way they kind of like with the minimal resource they could do something. And again, you have to look again at statistics. Was that real in terms of less money that they use or not is a differently debatable question. I have my own doubts, but the point is not about creating the doubt. The point is about appreciating an effort that somebody did and why we cannot do it. So you have to, stay updated with what is going on, participate in some of those things. And writing is again a communication. Like I'm again coming back to the communication point towards this side. So you should definitely, try to write things. Don't use Chat GPT to write it. It has to be your own thought. Our brain is much more fertile, and even AGI, a lot of people promise will come next year or the year after. I think it is far away. AGI is not coming in any time sooner. Although people think it will come, the ability of a brain to understand so many things is far ahead. And as engineers, and as somebody who have learned mathematics, who have developed certain concepts of a stream that you have picked, is far ahead of anybody that can learn. Use it as a tool to make yourself better and society or people around you better in that stream. But what I'm saying here is you have to focus on some of those things. You can again definitely a lot of online courses are there. Anybody wants to connect on LinkedIn, have some questions, I'm happy to answer. Just be very specific about what the question would be, and I'm happy to answer those. Email is something I won't prefer. LinkedIn is better because I am on email with a lot of startups that I help. And if 400 of you or thousands of you start emailing me, I'll be really very overwhelmed. I'll be happy, but I'll be very overwhelmed to answer you. But LinkedIn is a better forum. Maybe put it on the Balchan group forum so that not only me but 100 others can probably answer and help that cause. So with that, Marathe sir, I'll give the baton back to you. I'll probably question and answers thing. I will open up my video. I hope this was helpful. This is something I wanted to have a very different tone. I didn't want it to go into things that you can read online. I did not want to get into things that get published on a very daily basis. What I wanted to do is come with very practical, what I have seen, what I'm working with, whom I'm working with, and giving you some very real examples. There are still few examples, like as I said, like I use a paper and pen to do the things. It is, so I have a few things here. So I'm open to questions. Are they in the chat? I don't know. There are some questions. Probably there's a chat.
Yes, sir. I
Yes,
have
sir.
posted in the chats.
Bhalerao sir, Sandeep sir, thank you very much. Here, Dr. M. A. Shah.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr.
Yeah,
Shah.
yeah. Sir, I will begin with a question. So my question is, as a parent also, as a head of the department also, that many parents ask us that whether to get admission to the branch of pure computer science and engineering or AI and ML, AI and data science, because nowadays the engineering programs are in all fields of AI. 4-year engineering is now not limited to only computer science and IT, but AI, ML, AIDs, n number of programs are now available as a specialization for a 4-year. So what is your opinion on that, whether one should take admission to the 4-year BTech course of AI ML, and how it is really different from computer science and engineering, pure CSE graduate, and what are that opportunities that AI ML engineer will specifically get apart from CSE student?
Okay, so if I paraphrase the question, it is a choice between computer science and choice between AI ML in a 4-year engineering course.
Undergraduate course, yes, sir.
Correct. Okay. So that's the first question, and then the sub question of that is the opportunities that one can
Yes,
what opportunities are there for AI ML? So both
yes.
are great questions actually. So computer science has definitely computer science as a fundamental engineering, I would say now a fundamental engineering stream is about many things. So for example, like there are people who are working on algorithms, and algorithms is not, algorithm is could become theoretical, for example, but there are, like, I know my nephew is doing his PhD in algorithms, and he's running algorithms based on graph theory and graph databases, and that he's not a US citizen, but because he did some great work on and I'm just giving him a very practical example. He is picked up by a national US laboratory because he has developed certain algorithms that they really liked. uh, a national US laboratory is open only for US citizens, and for him to be picked up into by that laboratory, such as NASA type, uh, he definitely has excelled into what he's doing on the algorithm side. That comes into computer science. So are there opportunities there? Absolutely. But you have to be very deeper into, maybe on the algorithmic side. That's one thing. The other areas where I'm seeing things where somebody is trying to work with me, and actually he has a statement of work right now where he wants to work on a US government project. And that is about they want to develop certain memories. And when I'm saying memory, this is about the computer memory. So it definitely is a computer engineering side of things, not necessarily CS, because the first one example I gave was more on the algorithmic side. But they want to develop a unique memory that is required in today's AI systems. So it is going to help the AI engineers on the other side. But this is purely computer engineering and how one can put a computer architecture of memory that is for next generation AI system. And that's a very interesting concept. Earlier I mentioned, Chinese students or Chinese, entrepreneurs here, and they are working very aggressively on some of these memory, which kind of like goes into very hierarchical aspect. Memory has hierarchy, like, if you are as computer engineer, you know that there is a cache in the core or close to the CPU. This is not definitely electronics, but you're trying to do more computer architecture. And then there is, like, a lot of other memories as a hierarchy that one can see. But for this is good for CPU, but what for the GPUs? And how is GPU and memory connected? And that is the problem they want to solve. And he's kind of like interested in working with me to put a proposal on that. So those are the kind of things that opportunities are there for this for computer science and engineering. But then you have to be curious whether you want to write a new algorithm or you want to design a new memory system that might work with GPUs. And this is not, again, pure electronics. This is not VLSI. This is knowing the computer architecture, but as a GPU, because most of us have learned, and at least I have learned, mostly on, and when we learned, sir, PJK sir will laugh at this, but we learned at 8085 when we were programming the 8085 at that time. Things have moved from that point onwards, and 8085 was 8-bit, processor. Now we are talking about GPU and how a GPU could be done. So there are opportunities, but then you really need to like those things. Okay, so that's one important thing. So there are opportunities here as well, and there is, again, it's a domain of whether you like it or not. Similarly in civil engineering, for example, some people like structures, but when you say structure, are you talking about metallic structures or are you talking about bridge as a structure? And those could be very different things. So you have to like the domain, and I'm just translating it. Coming back to the AI ML thing, I think AI ML as a curriculum, I don't know how advanced it is today, as much as CSE is advanced in terms of years and years of experience that people have got to build certain things. Because as what education are you giving in this particular thing? The curriculum is very important, first of all. Second, the faculty is very important as to how much the faculty is. Are you just going to get a specific degree in AIML, or are you really having a great curriculum, a great faculty, and maybe also a great infrastructure to do certain things in AIML? So that goes very important from that standpoint, because CAC people could probably learn some of these things from that standpoint. But again, the opportunities there are, like, maybe these people are more on the forefront of knowing more things, and they have accessibility to the infrastructure, and they will be able to design what is coming next, from an AIML standpoint. And there are many problems that are still unsolved. So they could do those things as well. So I would probably, between the two, if and again, I may sound a little biased, but I will probably choose computer science and engineering. I will not go only for AI/ML because that requires a domain. At least CSE is a domain by itself, because as I mentioned, algorithm is very different, comes on a theoretical computer science side. The memory thing comes more on the computer architecture side. So it is still kind of a very well-defined field and is a domain by itself. AI/ML, again, from an engineering standpoint, I have to look at the curriculum, I have to look at the faculty, I have to look at infrastructure that is available. Just don't go for the degree from that standpoint. I went to UT Austin and I have an AI/ML PG program from UT Austin. But and it is a good program, it's a good school, it's kind of like top 10 on the postgraduate level. But I would still say that it is still very uh, it goes very specialized. Maybe a good idea is to do CSE and then do AI/ML as a post graduation. That would be my at least advice or my bias, actually. I might sound biased, but that would be my very honest opinion on the first question.
Hmm. Okay, sir. Okay. I received all the inputs. Thank you very much. Sir, now Hamza will continue with all the questions which are now available at the chat.
Hamza, thank you very much for taking the, sending me the questions and compiling it over here. Please go ahead.
Sure, sir. So I'll read the questions for you. The first question is, how do you see AI transforming traditional industries like manufacturing or agriculture in India?
It's a
So
very
should
good
I
question.
repeat?
No, I can read that because the chat is in front of me. That's fine. I think, again, transformation is basically what change is required, first of all. Transformation doesn't mean that the change is coming from outside. The transformation is, again, should come from inside, whether it is your own transformation as to, you as an engineer or you as a company, that that transformation has to first of all come from inside. So what that means, first of all, both from a manufacturing standpoint or an agricultural standpoint, as to why somebody would be beneficial by themselves, whether they're in manufacturing or agriculture, has to be answered, first of all. So the way I would probably put this question in a different spin is, anything that you see, think of three concentric circles. Okay. The inner circle is the why. Okay. The middle circle is the what. And then the outer circle is how. And the question you're asking is the how question, how it will transform. But for the how to be answered, you go one level deep and see what needs to be transformed. Okay. And that what needs to be transformed depends on what manufacturing you're talking about. Manufacturing is a very big industry. Manufacturing could be small, manufacturing could be big, manufacturing could be discrete, manufacturing could be process. So there are many ways that manufacturing happens. Manufacturing could be mass production, manufacturing could be niche production. And so it's very hard to answer question from that standpoint. What I wanted to inspire you is how to think through and a framework to answer the how question. The how usually comes outside, the what comes in the middle. But the core of many questions is the why you want to transform. Because if you know the why you want to transform, you will get the what. And the what will tell you how, because it will lead to that path. So what I'm saying here is, think of it inside out than outside in. Don't do AI transforming, manufacturing or agriculture because it's happening in some country or somebody's, having this. You have to get to the why, the core of the seed of it, as to why you need to transform it. One good thing is, like, for example, like, initially, the when I was in Sangli, the railway reservations Used to be you go and stand in the line at Sangli station and get the ticket there. And then agents came and then agents said, "Oh, I can get it done for you," because they saw that it was very painful to stand in a ticket window and buy the ticket. And even if you go to some metros today, you have to go, stand in the line and buy the ticket. It is a pain. So why you should do that? Because it's a pain. So can you solve it? Yeah. So what needs to be solved? That people are not standing in the line. And how you will solve it? Well, I mean, it's like you have, mobile and you could do some things and only limited number of, inventory is there on a train, and just buy the ticket and make sure that two people are not given the same ticket or same berth, on a railway. So similarly, uh, a pain has to be first seen in any of the manufacturing or agricultural side of it. Definitely, it can help in crop quality on the agricultural side. I've seen some of the things, but that is more, I would say, where organized farming is used. And when organized farming, I'm saying there is acreage of agriculture that is going on. There they do it. One of my friends is in Malaysia, and he is using it. He's using more IoT, but he can get the data, sensor data. So they actually go and the plantation is actually about palm trees. And they, a lot of palm oil is exported out of Malaysia. It actually is not good for health. I'm being a food entrepreneur, I can tell you that. But the when they should cut it and how they should harvest some of these things. This includes even bananas or other fruits, and they can rotate, these things based on, as to where they should go cut these things. So that could be helpful in agriculture, but it has to be very organized, acreage and miles and kilometers of agriculture. There it could be beneficial. It could be beneficial definitely in drones going and doing certain things, but it is not for a small farm. This is not for a small farmer. It is not for manufacturing. Maybe it depends, but again, industry is more important there. Again, look at the I'm trying to inspire you to think little differently from inside out than being influenced by what is happening elsewhere. PJK sir, you have a question. This one. Natural language processing, how it is progressing. You know, so one thing that probably LLM is probably not, and I don't know whether it has done it, but this new generation has different language of how they speak English actually. And it's kind of difficult because there's a whole different dictionary probably that, at least I have not known. And some of the words are like very different. Maybe, and I'm joking here, but that's probably one of the, thing. But I think NLP, what I've seen on the LLM side, uh, LLM is actually an NLP application. I still have, I'm working with a Korean client right now, and the Excel sheets or any document they send me have a lot of Korean characters in between. And simple Microsoft Office today does not have a translator built in into, I can show you one of the sheets if just for fun, I'll show you uh, because I cannot read Korean myself. Just hold on 1 second. Just a second. Okay. Give me a second.
Sandeep, what I just said into my question is like this. that
Yeah,
once upon a time, this NLP was a kind of a topic even for my PhD students. I guided
correct,
few of those students for their NLP and they did
correct,
fantastic work. But today it has now become a mini project with LLM. Mini
correct.
project in LLM. That is the scenario that we are looking at right now. Now, when I really see to it that NLTK or many such toolkits in NLP were so rich in their development, but with LLM, they are nowhere. I'm not denying that NLP doesn't have any existence. NLP definitely has. But by looking to what LLM gives as a great application, there must be a different way of making a development in NLP. So you also carried out a good work in NLP in the initial state. So by looking
Correct.
to what is happening today and with reference to what NLP it should really focus at, what is your insights in making development in the NLP? Because looking for brain functioning for processing the natural language, machine will not do it in that respect. But to some
No,
extent,
definitely not. Definitely
definitely,
not.
but to some extent, machine does it. And whatever
Correct.
machine does it today is accepted. Of course,
Correct.
going beyond is all sky's the height, sky's the limit for that part. But in that situation, when many of my students presently coming to me and asking me, sir, is that in the context of LLM, NLP do exist with a great research?
It does actually, like one of the things
Yeah,
that I'm working with. I'll go a little bit into the deeper side of it now. So Kubernetes has taken over a lot of container management, right? And Kubernetes is kind of like helping put containers and microservices or agentic AI workloads into very simple containers, right? Now, what happens is the usage of Kubernetes has grown. Kubernetes is actually not 10 years old. It's not like small. And initially, it used, VMware was there and virtualization was there and OS containers were there. But now Kubernetes is pretty much a thing. Uh, the way to manage a very complex Kubernetes system is very hard. That skill is very, very difficult. And one of the ways people are doing that is to put an interface uh, into the Kubernetes management through natural language processing. So they would say that I want to, do certain things with this Kubernetes container, and this is what should happen. And this is now a natural language of a Kubernetes administrator speaking directly, and they are taking help of certain LLMs. Those LLMs could differ, but the point I'm making, sir, here is the natural language here is changed a little bit of a infrastructure administrator or a system administrator or a Kubernetes administrator to change to configure the Kubernetes or deconfigure it, dismantle it after usage, and that's happening in natural language today. That's one thing. The Terraforms, which is kind of like infrastructure as a code, is happening in natural language. So, for example, if there are people who are trying, say, like, and AI is for all. Again, I want to come back to that theme. And there is somebody who wants a particular thing, they exactly know they will need it. If they express this kind of infrastructure, AI infrastructure, I want to run something upon, then that infrastructure should be made available for them. So because as the usage of AI will grow in the society, say doctors or lawyers or accountants, you name any other professions, they should be able to interact in that specific language, which some people call sort of like, small language model, or people call industry language model. But again, uh, somebody in, say, Maharashtra will be very different will be speaking differently about a uh, particular thing in a particular industry than somebody say in Bihar, for that matter. Language is different over there, but the context is same in some of those things. So I think there is a lot of evolution even on the Indian language side, which where I started my project in for Hindi basic interpreter. Those could be very useful from that standpoint, and I think there is definitely a scope for those things as well. There. I don't know whether I've answered your question, but it's a great question, and I think so. Whether it's for a cloud engineer or a Kubernetes engineer or a lawyer in different parts, I'm trying to apply things that are possibles where I've seen things. And I said like I myself struggle working with, I'm working with a Korean client right now, and they give me spreadsheets that may have, or they may give me documents that may have a lot of Korean characters in between. In fact, my Slack channel is all Korean. And I don't know what they're talking sometimes. And I can see some words, they might, mark me, and and Slack does not translate, directly, uh, from Korean to English. I wish I can show you that. If you're interested, I can show you, but just for curiosity. But that's what the problems are with natural language, because they are talking in their natural language, which is Korean. But for me, I don't understand, and then I have to copy it, kind of like see in a different window, or use Google Translate to do that. So I think the the NLP has a great usage, not just as a translator I'm talking about, but also if I ask questions, say in English, uh, can I talk to somebody in Korean on the other side on Slack? And they are say talking with me in Korean, and then it comes back to me. So it's a simple client server architecture. Can it discuss with two people who are absolutely having two different languages of typing?
Sandeep,
Can you
I'll
do
make my question very specific so that
that?
your answer will also be in that particular specific corner. My
Okay.
question was specifically, you used to write a parser, NLP parser. We used to make it a syntactic parser. To some extent, a syntax was used in a context, making it semantic parser. That was the kind of a research that we used to carry out. But today,
Correct.
I find that the probabilistic model, next word is predicted very well. And given the syntax, given the word, given the kind of the context with which all that paragraph has come, what is likely to come next is very well accepted and very well worked out by my LLM. So my way of earlier working for that parser design, where I use that FSA, final state automata, all those things, I think this is to some extent overcome by use of those LLM. That is what I mean. Application side, there are many, many avenues available. I'm not saying on the NLP applications. I'm looking for the NLP development from the point of view of making those developments at the fundamental level. Hope
That
you are getting
I
me.
Yep. I'm definitely getting you. I have to think through a better answer for you, sir.
Okay, no problem. No problem.
Always you always challenge me, and
Sir,
no, that is a great, I've accepted the challenge. I don't have the answer right now,
right. Okay, no
uh,
problem. No problem. No problem.
because again, I'll have to look through and talk to people who are in NLP,
Okay.
uh, and come back to you. But that's a great question, and as always, you have put a great challenge on me. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. I think, and then you have AI jobs are available for non-CAC students also. So what is special about CAC graduate to grab AI jobs? The specialty there for AI jobs is there is a lot of things even happening on the algorithmic side, sir, in AI. Uh, and there is definitely whether you make your own LLMs, that's one thing. But then can you go beyond what is available? Uh, it is the AI jobs does not mean necessarily, we have to qualify what AI jobs means. So CSE graduate can grab, but non-CSE graduate, as I said, the domain is very important. Three things are required in this thing. One is definitely statistics. Everybody needs to know that. Second is a domain. You have to pick that, whatever the domain is. And third is, how you are using data as a product, or how you are generating data as a product, or how you are kind of like analyzing the data as a machine learning person. Those things are very important for non-CSE students. And that's why I said like basic Python is required. But special about CSE graduate jobs is to, there are many jobs, I would say, that are there. What is special about it? The special about it is to use, first of all, I said algorithm. The second example I gave was about computer architecture, right? Can you design like, forget the traditional CPU memory hierarchy. How would you do it for a next generation GPU? And what kind of memory is required there? And how that memory would be different than the CPU memory in terms of the processor and memory linkage. These things can be only done by CSE students. It's very, very domain specific to computer architecture or algorithms. That would be my answer, sir, for that. I already gave that answer in terms of examples.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, I am a first year student and looking to get started with building domain specific LLMs. Very good. I want to know how to begin this process and what steps or resources would be useful to get hands-on experience. So first of all, to all the first year student, I really, uh, appreciate. I told to Dr. Shah on AI/ML, but that doesn't mean that you have to be, I said my own bias on that, and you definitely should have your own bias as to why you're doing that, and that's very good. Uh, Building this, I think probably you should probably take a few steps on knowing more about. I think the first year is very common for all students, and step into it. But there's no harm to kind of like get started some of these things. You should probably connect with me on LinkedIn offline on some of these things as to what resources one could use. Domain specific LLMs requires that you know what an LLM is and how it is built. You also need to know, you have to also pick a domain as to how to build some of these things. I can recommend certain coursework, definitely to get that knowledge first before you start experimenting on some of these things. That would be my advice to a first year AIML student. And then the follow-up question you have is, what does an autonomous vehicles AI prioritize ethical decisions in a dilemma scenario like the trolley problem? It's a great question actually, and again, and that is exactly why I would say that the decisions in some cases made by machines are based on what they have learned and what they have not learned. And some of them could, and that's where some people are saying that AGI could be, coming and, solving some of these things. But I think this is the autonomous vehicle by itself needs to solve many other things right now. Some key things are as a vehicle itself, there's a lot to solve there. Uh, Ethical decisions definitely are something we'll have to, people have been locked in the car in some cases, and these are real problems. But again, it's hard to answer as to, how uh, because ethics is something very uh, uh, ethics in design and ethics in execution of your design needs to be looked at on some of these problems. It's a tough question, good question though, but I would definitely look through it as to what, how they can prioritize. One person I mentioned, he works on autonomous vehicles on larger size. I would probably ask him on some of these things as to what they feel. There's another friend of mine who is working with a German company here in the valley, and they also work a lot on AI specific things. So I will definitely ask. Again, automobile is not my specialty, but uh, I think you have posed a good question here. What strategies would you recommend for balancing AI research alongside regular academic coursework in college? I think one thing I first of all would say is like one should read the paper. Okay, reading the paper is very important. And I don't know whether you have a AI research group. I would probably, if I was there, I would have started a club and just AI research club. Somebody should do it if it is not there. And read the papers together, because or just like book reading, you have to first the first thing is to you could start a club. That's the very easiest way to do it after hours or weekends or whenever you can schedule some of these things. But that is something I would highly recommend. That's one thing. Second thing is uh, participate in any conferences that are AI specific, and you can go as part of either college to present, or if you can take leave from college and go attend because of this particular thing, I think you should do that. That's one of the things I would say. But again, research is something, you have to read the research paper and discuss the research paper. There is a research methodology, there is definitely a research way how research has to be conducted. So first try to know that. Maybe PJK sir, I would highly recommend that at least like a mini course on what research is and what research methodology is. I don't know whether it is in the curriculum, but I think we should have somebody come talk about that, at least to students, as to what is research actually, and what are the research methodologies, and how you should prepare yourself for a research, and so forth. That would be my recommendation at least. But
Fortunately, research methodology is a course in the curriculum, and
perfect.
students are quite aware regarding those different methodologies, different methods, and wherever they go up showing their work as a project work, mini project work in a competitive way, the research methodologies are well adopted by these students. That's a good awareness coming up today. It's a very good concept today. It has been included in the curriculum.
Correct. But is there a AI research club
No, there is no
today?
separate. I hope that with your inputs, definitely WC will take up this step forward, and working of the college working hours for this AI research group, a separate club would be instituted. I believe the
Excuse me, sir.
suggestion.
Excuse me, sir. Hello, Sandeep ji. Hello,
Hello,
Sandeep ji.
Dr.
Yeah. Good.
Uday,
Good
how are
morning,
you?
sir. Yeah. Good
Good
morning,
morning.
Professor Uday Dabde. Yeah. As you mentioned, right now we don't have a AI research club, but definitely with your as suggested by you, we will initiate that club during next academic sessions from June onwards. And right now we have different types of the clubs and associations. Earlier might be it was the number was restricted to near about 12 to 13, but as on today 20 plus students clubs associations are working and they are doing very well. But as suggested by you, definitely we'll try and we'll start the new club, that is AI research club, with support of CSE as well as AIML department, which we have recently started. Thank you, sir. And one question is there. I have put on the chat box. So, in your opinion,
Yeah,
yeah,
go ahead. Yeah, I'm reading your question.
yeah,
Thank you, Professor. That's actually fabulous to have, so many clubs,
yeah,
and AI research by itself. But again, the point I'm making is to why somebody should do that, and one should definitely learn. And Professor PJK mentioned there is a research methodology or as part of the curriculum. That's great, but then read the paper as a group, individually, and then as a group, and try to analyze some of these things. There is enough opportunities to write small papers. There are definitely avenues open to kind of publish some of those things. And if you want something more on this topic, I'm happy to have someone come and talk about AI research as such. AI research in particular. I'm not talking how they do AI research as such.
Okay,
So
okay, good.
happy to
Yeah,
have somebody.
sir, let me give some this regarding AI. Last 2 months, we have initiated the lecture series. Okay,
Mm,
on 7th of February, we have a special expert talk by Atul Kahte ji. Might be you aware of Atul Kahte. And on 27th of March, Vivek Sawant expert lecture session was organized at our campus at Tilak Hall. But unfortunately, the response from the student is not so good because the purpose for whom we are, and same thing happening with library, utilization of library. Considering the requirement, nowadays we are keeping the library open for 12 hours, morning 9 to night 9. The study room, reading room is open for 24 hours for the students, boy students. But the what we are expecting, the how to motivate students so that they can utilize the library in better way. Hmm? We are keeping our library more than 12 hours, about 12 hours open to the students. But the response, how to motivate them? So that is a challenge for us. And that is the remark also from the committee members of like NAC, NIRF. Hmm? So how to motivate them? If some inputs from your side.
Definitely, I meant to say, there has to be more material probably in the library. I don't know. Definitely, there are, reading can be a part of the curriculum as such, so that, it's kind of like read, like the research reading, for example, I mentioned. But, the ability to comprehend by using books or reading books is going down because of the usage of programs like ChatGPT, because it summarizes everything, and in a summary, if you know, then you are not getting into the detail of some of those things. So I think reading is very important as part of gaining expertise in the domain. You don't get expertise in the domain just because you know to put a nice prompt and come back with some summary of certain things. But I think it is more about working into it, reading it. So I think you are doing a disservice to yourself as a student if you're not reading those things. And maybe like the material is not there, sir, I don't know. But you have to find that gap, because again, I'm not a professional academician, but motivation is something I can definitely do uh, on career aspirations, on working on projects, working as an entrepreneur. I help a lot of startups here. So those things I can definitely do. But reading is something I I don't have a better guidance other than maybe making it as part of the curriculum,
Okay.
as part of asking, maybe setting your quizzes or other things, so that
Yes. Yes.
the concepts are kind of like in the book and in the classroom, but without reading you're not getting it, and then not repeating the same questions in some cases also.
Okay.
So pretty random quizzing should be helpful, so that those who are motivated to get good grades and good you know advance their education further will read some of those things. Cheating is very easy in some
Hmm.
cases. but that's what I would say. And to answer what area WC has to focus on, I think there are two or three paths this can go. One is definitely the writing more AI papers and
Okay.
participating in some of those things. I think the contribution of and then writing it by yourself, not taking help of other tools.
Yes.
Thinking through it, and that requires reading. So that's one on the AI research side. Second is there is definitely a lot of entrepreneurship that is possible in AI. And this is for all engineers. This is not for just AI ML people. This is not for CAC. This is definitely for everybody.
Yes.
So look for those kind of facilities available to do AI. I have a lot of ideas. PJK sir, we have discussed this couple of times. Happy to help on that front on putting AI for
Okay.
industries into a reality. The third thing is for I did address the student part of it. I have not addressed the faculty part of it, but I think
Okay.
faculty should also be involved in some sort of research, regardless of their domain, and should take, should probably be, and again, I'm saying the word upskill in a very constructive way, to have at least some knowledge of AI, some knowledge of Python imparted to them, some knowledge of, how these systems work. And I'm happy to set up, certain labs, especially for non-CSE, to kind of like look into how this can be used. This is not
Okay.
just I've visited, I've seen, I think there are, I think IBM lab, there is the Dassault lab, there are like a few other labs.
Yes,
uh,
yes. Siemens Lab is also there right now. LNT, yeah.
for 4 or 5 years, yeah, it is about like 5 years I've not been to the college, but I was coming like almost every year since 2012, for about 7, 8 years, because I was based in Kolhapur to work on my food tech company. And after COVID, then I have not returned, but I plan to. Uh, my point would be like, uh, do it for the non-CSC. It's very important. And because you cannot just have everything by AI. You need, you need a house to live in, you need a road to travel, and that cannot be done without civil engineers. You need like a vehicle to ride, and many
Yeah.
other things that cannot happen because of mechanical engineers
Yes.
and then
Yes.
electrical engineers.
Yeah.
So how these things can be better is just having that imparted to all. AI is for all, and so I think with that philosophy, you could probably try to change how WC can focus and be a very different engineering college than others.
Okay, sir.
And I'm happy to help in any which way.
Okay, thank you. Definitely, we'll initiate interaction with faculty members also during next.
Correct. I mean,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
didn't want to miss the faculty part of it here. And
yeah,
I
yeah,
think
yeah.
they should probably upgrade. And I think one could start there because, uh, the one thing I would definitely tell you, which I'm very proud of, being a Walchand alumni, is that Walchand, the thing I have seen from the past is a lot of consulting my faculty were doing, whether they were having or entrepreneurship they were doing, whether it was in environmental, whether it was in mechanical, whether
Yeah.
it was in many other areas I've seen. And that's very important to have the faculty do consulting work with the industry. And that is not only for the research thing, that is not only to find faults or some of those things, but doing some innovation on 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 for the industry from an academic standpoint, but helping out there. And that same thing, when I came here in the Valley about 31 years ago, I've seen a very similar thing at Stanford. Google's CEO for many years was Eric Schmidt. Eric Schmidt actually was also at Sun Microsystems, where I have worked. And Eric Schmidt actually became the Google CEO because the two PhD students who started Google were, not were they're more PhD students, and they were not CEO types. And Eric Schmidt actually left Sun, went to Novell, became a CEO there, and then again came back, and he became the CEO of Google. But Eric Schmidt was also a professor at UC Berkeley. Not many people know these things. The Databricks CEO right now, which is a very hot company, uh, is actually a Berkeley professor. You should look at Databricks, and they're Berkeley. So if this is possible, the good thing I'm saying is, because they were in touch with the industry, because they were doing research, because they were innovating, because they were trying to do things differently, this is very much possible. But then the college has to give facilities for that. College has to give an opportunities to industries to make things happen. But you have to create some foundation for some of these things. And I'm talking specifically for non-CAC here, but this equally goes to CAC as well as AIML and other departments as well. I think that's very important to have uh, at least ML labs created for faculty so that they can ponder with the data. ML clubs created for specific students so that they can, do Kaggle competitions or other competitions. And that would essentially bring more AI into WC. That would be at least my advice or my suggestion to you.
Okay, thank you. Initially, now we have started and we have initiated the process for research promotion. And even the management have published a policy to provide the financial support to the faculties also. So that process is in progress now. Hope the results will get coming years with support from our alumni like you. So definitely we will arrange one interaction with faculty members also, sir. Okay. Thank you
Definitely.
from my side. Yeah.
Thank you. I hope this was helpful, PJK
Yes,
sir,
definitely.
as
Yeah.
well as Marathe sir. It was, very, very touching. I may not have answered all the questions, but I can answer offline. PJK sir, you have again challenged me, like every time. So
Sandeep
I
sir,
bow you,
sir,
I owe you and I bow you both, in terms of
no, that's okay,
very,
sir. No.
it was a very humbling experience.
Sir,
Thank
I
you
am
very much.
thankful to your these kind words. Definitely, your impetus in the today's lecture. I think this has given a trigger in altogether a different way on how do we go forward. Because in the today's era where AI is becoming so powerful, we need to be also powerful, and we should not be at the hands of AI. And that was a great message that you passed on to us. Definitely, we'll take it forward. Let's look for the coordinators to conclude the session.
Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot. Shah madam?
Hello.
Hello,
Uh,
Shah madam?
Hello. Sir, myself Hamza. Actually, I guess Shah ma'am is respond right now. Uh, mm, so should we conclude or you want to
Yeah, please,
answer
sir.
more
Please,
questions?
sir, please conclude then. Okay, please
Okay.
provide the
Okay.
vote of thanks, sir.
Okay. I'll provide the vote of thanks. First of all, thank you, sir. On behalf of all of us, I would like to extend our heartfelt thanks to you. It was such a pleasant listening to you, like your insightful and engaging session on AI, NLP, deep learning. I have heard a lot of things, and also some of the question was mine too. Uh, Despite the time difference, and you are in USA, it's a night in USA. Your dedication and passion for sharing the knowledge to learn from you was like it was a privilege for us to learn for you. Thank you so once again for joining us and giving such a
Well, thank you
great
very
session.
much. Yeah,
Thank you, Sandeep ji. Thank you. Okay, thank you,
thank you,
sir. Thank you,
thank you,
Sankar sir.
Dabade. Yeah,
Thank you. Okay,
Yeah,
thank you, sir. Yeah,
thank
yeah.
you.
Sandeep,
Bye.
really, I'm thankful to you. Very much thankful to you. You have done excellent work today. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you. Bye.
Bye.
you.
Bye.
रिमूव कर मैं माइक चालू नहीं कर
Hello, ma'am. So should I end the meeting?